Occupy Central organisers turn themselves in. Attempt to crack down on protesters in Mongkok. And Israel's Prime Minister seeks early election.
Good evening. 3 Occupy Central organisers were among 24 people who turned themselves in to the police today. No arrests have been made, but police had them fill out a special form about the offences they might have committed. Diane To reports.
This afternoon, Occupy Central organisers Benny Tai, Chan Kin Man and Chu Yu Ming arrived at the Central Police Station. Others who were there to turn themselves in included Cardinal Joseph Zen and Democratic Party lawmaker Wu Chi-wai. Before surrendering, they filled out their personal details on an unofficial document, acknowledging they had breached the public order ordinance for taking part in an unauthorized assembly. They each then handed their own copy to police. Do not give officers further information, Tai said. It's their responsibility to gather evidence to press charges against us, while it's our responsibility to admit guilt, he added. Those who turned themselves in later went into the police station in batches. Shortly after, the Occupy organizers came back out, saying police officers recorded their personal details and had them write down the offenses they might have committed on a special form without taking a statement.
We are not being arrested, so we are allowed to leave without or no kind of restriction on our liberty. I don't think that the matter will be resolved by this occasion, but later we may be arrested and even we may be prosecuted for more serious offences.
But Tai said there's still hope for the pro-democracy movement. Cardinal Zen emphasized their surrender doesn't mean the end of the pro-democracy campaign. Once again, he called on student leaders to retreat from the occupied areas. If the government won't take responsibility for the occupation, we'll take matters into our own hands and put an end to it, he said. Police stressed they will handle the cases in a fair and impartial manner. And the Department of Justice announced Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions David Leung will handle the cases because he has no connection with those involved. Basic Law Committee Deputy Director and former Secretary for Justice Elsie Leung said the next step is for the department to decide whether to press charges. Stephanie Choi, TVB News.
3 members of the student group Scholarism, who are staging a hunger strike, have vowed to continue their campaign. That's despite one of them not feeling well overnight. The trio said they just want to fight for a chance for more dialogue. They're hoping the government will discuss the option of restarting the constitutional reform process, adding that they understand the political reform framework set by Beijing is not up to the SAR government to retract. In a statement, the chief executive's office said it's not legally possible to restart the process and that such a demand is not practical, so the government cannot agree to it. It reiterated that the campaign by students is futile and called on them to take care of themselves.
There was more chaos in Mongkok last night, this time involving a group of people at a clothing store. As Liz Yoon reports, lawmakers from across the political spectrum have spoken out against their behaviour.
At around midnight, a large crowd gathered at the junction of Argyle and Tong Choi streets. The group complained that minibuses were illegally parked here. The vehicles belong to Chiulun Public Light Bus Company, which had applied for an injunction order to clear one of the protest sites in Mongkok earlier. Police demanded that the crowd stay away from traffic and took away a number of people amid the chaos. Meanwhile, some people entered a clothing store on Sayang Choi Street South. They prevented shopkeepers from lowering the shutter. They claimed they wanted to shop here and were unwilling to leave until the police came by. Legal scholar and legislator Priscilla Leung said what they did could be in breach of the public order ordinance.
I think it might cause more in the civil aspect, like nuisance or trespass, like if a shopkeeper would like to close their shop and they would like to go in and they don't allow the shopkeeper to close the shop. This can cause like a forceful entry.
There are claims someone wanted to take revenge on a staff member of the store who had a run-in with Occupy protesters earlier.
We could walk around Mongkok and to shop. There's nothing wrong about that. But if you start intruding the shop owners and the shop operators for too much, that will give people an excuse to say that the umbrella movement is no longer peaceful.
Fearing that sustained conflicts would damage the non-violent principle of the civil disobedience movement, Leung appealed to protesters not to provoke shopkeepers and remain peaceful at all times. Liz Yun, TVB News.
China says Britain has no moral responsibility for what happens in Hong Kong following the handover. That's according to the Foreign Ministry following last night's debate in London, in which British lawmakers condemned Beijing's decision to stop a parliamentary fact-finding trip to look at the Occupy movement.
At the heart of the Chinese argument conveyed to me at the meeting is that the joint declaration signed by China and the United Kingdom is now void. This is a manifestly irresponsible and incorrect position to take.
In Beijing, Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Hua Chunying accused certain British lawmakers of trying to interfere in China's internal affairs by taking an interest in Hong Kong.
To other news now. Authorities in Taiwan are still investigating the murder of an elderly man whose body was found yesterday. The suspect is a 22-year-old Hong Kong man. In newly released security camera footage, the suspect is believed to be seen handling the victim's body. Taiwan police said an initial investigation shows the case involved outstanding rental payments. They also said the suspect has already confessed to his landlord's murder. The case came to light after neighbours reported a foul smell in the building. Police said the body was found wrapped in a taped-up mattress with the feet sticking out. The suspect was reportedly expelled from Taipei's Chinese Culture University more than 2 years ago after he didn't pay tuition, although he continued to live nearby. Also in Taiwan, President Ma Ying-jeou officially stepped down as Kuomintang chairman today after his ruling party suffered a crushing defeat in local elections last weekend.
The
Kuomintang Charter states that the president is to be party chairman, but there's too much bearing down on Ma Ying-jeou right now. Saturday's defeat saw the Blue Camp lose long-time strongholds such as Taipei and Taichung mayoral positions. The KMT won just 6 out of 22 municipalities and counties. Having led the party since 2009, Ma announced his decision to quit last night, though he will continue his term as president. Vice President Wu Den-yi, who stepped down as party vice chairman after the election losses, became the acting chairman today. But he's already announced that he will not be standing for chairman when the party chooses its new leader in January. Of the KMT's remaining 6 vice chairpersons, newly re-elected mayor of New Taipei City Eric Chu and president of the Legislative Yuan Wang Jinping